Welcome to Tales from Tatooine podcast. I'm Jacob.
I'm Fish.
And this is the second time we've recorded this part.
No, the first time, the second time we've done it.
So welcome to the first ever episode of Tales from Tatooine podcast, where we talk all things Star Wars, from theories to refuting videos and crazy ideas and speculations and
predictions,
news and predictions. Whatever. It's just all Star Wars. Because we pretty much talk Star Wars all day, we might as well put it on the internet because we believe that you would benefit as the fan because we are all knowing.
Share the knowledge.
The Force is strong with us. The basic premise of our show is pretty simple. We are going to talk about some news. We're going to go over a topic or theme, and then we'll kind of see where the conversation goes from there. I'm very upset we're doing this twice.
The first one was so good.
It was so good. You guys would have loved it. So in the news this week, we have a couple things. Mark Hamill officially announces that Luke does not go dark side. Of course. Because why would he? That's an insane idea.
Where did that idea even come from? People bored?
I think it came from two things. One, everyone believes that if you're dark side, you're Sith. Right?
Right.
And they have to have Sith in this movie, even though Luke Skywalker is not Sith. Kylo Ren is not Sith. Snoke, not modern Sith. He may be ancient Sith, but that's a whole different thing.
That's a different podcast for a different time.
But they think that there has to be Sith, and why not Luke, who was already pulled to the dark side? And then two, because of all the posters and the trailers make it seem like he gets kind of dark side, which is it's a red herring. People, calm down. He may be depressed on Octu, but you don't go to Octu to meditate on being a Sith. It doesn't make any sense.
If I was going to meditate Sith style, I would go to the cave of Dagobah.
Right.
I mean, where else would you go except for where he's
already been?
He's been and saw Vader and all that.
It's very important to note that locations have Force energy.
Oh, yeah.
He wouldn't go to the original Jedi Temple, which would be full of light side energy to meditate on being a Sith. Right. Come on.
You go somewhere dark.
This is elementary, people. And he knows where there's a place that has a lot of dark side energy. He's been there. He trained there.
Mustafa.
Have you seen Star Wars?
Right.
Do you even Star Wars, bro? And then, of course, because Luke, the actor who plays Luke, Mark Hamill, totally trolls the internet.
Absolutely, yeah. For both sides, he likes to stir the pot, see what kind of bullshit he can pull out.
Well, I think he knows that everyone takes things so seriously that he has to mess with everyone because they'll be like, "Oh my God, Mark Hamill said that he's dark side,
so it has to be true
because of this poster." # Glass Onion.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill, we love you. You're more than welcome to come on the podcast. 10 days from now, Battlefront 2 comes out.
Very exciting.
Looks phenomenal. Oh, the trailer. The trailer gives me goosebumps.
Oh, yeah. So much more excited than the last Battlefront.
So it has a canon storyline, which is going to do many things. One, it's very likely going to delve into some information that we need for The Last Jedi, or at least information that those who want that kind of deeper understanding need.
Fill in some gaps and whatnot.
Two, it just looks amazing.
Oh, God, it's beautiful.
Like prequels better than prequels.
Yeah.
Good.
Can you imagine the prequels if we had that kind of technology?
And it covers all three eras of the saga. It covers the prequels, it covers the original trilogy, and it covers all the way up to The Force Awakens and after. I think it goes after.
Yeah.
Or just between. But you get to play as many different characters. You can play as Luke, you can play as the Emperor, you can play as Vader. I think Lando Calrissian is in there.
Fuck that guy.
She hates Lando. She's a traitor.
Fucking traitor.
Insert picture of her shelf here. But it looks great. It looks exponentially better than the first one.
Oh, yeah.
It's got a storyline which looks amazing. Graphics are amazing. It shows off Force moves and powers that we've never
That
seen
we've
before,
never
which are
seen.
canon.
That are canon, yes.
By the way, the Emperor's new move, that dark side, where he like pulls the energy from people.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain that's a move that we're going to see in The Last Jedi, and we'll go over that in our trailer breakdown.
I bet I know who we're going to see it out of too.
Yes, we will. So we're very excited about that. Definitely have to play it. Also, Kathleen Kennedy, who is the president of Lucasfilm, is that correct? Yeah. She discussed the future of Star Wars post Episode 9, saying, "We're sitting down now, we're talking about the next 10 years of Star Wars stories, and we're looking at, narratively, where that might go. Future stories beyond Episode 9 with these new characters, Rey, Poe, Finn, BB-8, etc." There's two things to note about this. One, she is just mentioning that she has characters that they can work with. She did not confirm that the next trilogy will be with these characters. She's just hinting that she has characters to use. She did mention that she has unexplored stories that they could tell. I personally hope that they do not go forward with their storyline unless it's very intriguing in The Last Jedi. Only because, man, we have so much lore before the prequels.
Before, not all Star Wars is the Skywalker story.
And even if you did, and we'll go over this, even if you did make it all Skywalker story, all the way back to the beginning,
yeah, there's a way
so
to
much
make
more
that
that you
happen.
can use. I mean, the Old
so
Republic,
many characters.
come on.
The Rise of the Sith.
The Jedi War against Mandalore.
Oh man.
Ooh. I mean, we're talking
so much.
We're talking content.
Goosebumps.
You do, even if you don't know movies, Netflix, or I guess they're doing their own Disney streaming service. I don't care.
Yeah. And give it a show or something.
A show,
you know,
Old Republic show. I don't care. I'll even take a Clone Wars style animation with a little bit of updated graphics, more Final Fantasy
like Battlefront style.
Yeah, something really,
like that.
really nice. That would be phenomenal. Totally acceptable. Or they could do an anthology film that goes back. I don't care.
Yeah, there's just so much story to just not get it out.
Don't keep us in the same 100-year range. It's boring.
And there's thousands of years.
Thousands. So hopefully we see them decide to go back, which I think they will, considering I'm very certain things like Snoke being ancient, Maz's storyline.
Super old.
We're very likely going to see a Force ghost of Yoda.
Yeah,
I think so. Him talking about the origins. We know that Luke has been searching for origins of the Jedi, the Journal of the Wills, like all of these things. There's a lot of ancient things.
There's a lot of
even
past coming here.
Even Kylo's hilt is an ancient design. Like
right.
They're pushing back. So I'm fairly certain even if they do a new trilogy going forward, that we're going to see stuff that's going back, because they're very strongly hinting at those sorts of things. And that's it for news. Of this important news. Today's podcast is a very, very contentious subject. Actually, the very reason we decided to start. I know. One, it's very popular misconception, and two, it's the whole reason we started this podcast, because we talk Star Wars with our clients almost daily.
Yeah.
And it's almost a universal idea that they have, and that is Rey's parentage, more specifically her being a Skywalker. She ain't a Skywalker.
No.
She's not a Skywalker.
No.
And we watched like 2-3 dozen videos about her being a Skywalker, and the evidence is not only uncompelling, but so superficial it's laughable.
So lacking.
Oh, it's just there are theories that are crazy, like Snoke being Mace Windu, and you're kind of like, that's fun. Or Snoke being the youngling. that Anakin kills.
Oh,
that's my favorite theory.
That's my favorite Snoke theory.
If that ever happens,
sure. Oh my god!
I don't care what Star Wars does. That's phenomenal. But Rey being a Skywalker is intellectually lazy and just kind of obscene. It betrays Star Wars. So we're going to go over our top 10 reasons that we're going to, I guess, contest the top 10 reasons that these videos all seem to share. And they're all pretty similar. There's some crazy ones out there, which we'll get into in our our picks for most ridiculous reason. Oh, God. And these people have thousands of views. God,
and such little evidence. It's just
it's not evidence.
This is what I feel or what I want to happen. Therefore, it's fact.
Yeah.
Is what I got from a lot of the videos.
I think it's pretty much everyone wants to relive the original trilogy.
Right, and it's time to move forward.
Because The Force Awakens is pretty much A New Hope. They're like, well, I guess The Last Jedi will pretty much be Empire, and then it's just so on. Like it's kind of sad. Right. I feel like they're caught up in the nostalgia of it, which is almost understandable. But you guys, come on!
You can only go in the same circle so many times before it gets repetitive and boring. The story needs to grow, and to grow, it needs to move forward.
Forward, people.
Forward.
So we're gonna go on the top 10 points as to why people believe that she is in fact Skywalker, and we are going to rip them to shreds because they are totally dumb. Point number 1.
It's a Skywalker story, therefore she has to be a Skywalker. But...
So there's only one point of evidence that they cite for this particular idea, and it's the Star Wars website, the synopsis for The Last Jedi, in which it states that the continuation of the Skywalker saga. Which, by the way, has a Skywalker in it.
Several.
His name's Leia.
Luke
Skywalker. I think that's a big one.
Is that right?
I think so.
Luke.
They have Ben Solo. Wallace Solo.
Still a Skywalker.
Still a descendant of Skywalker.
That's 3.
Even though Rey is the main person in this trilogy, that doesn't mean she has to be the Skywalker they're talking about. And this synopsis was posted like 9 months ago. It's like, of course they're not going to drop spoilers like, oh, well, this is the continuation of the Palpatine line. Like, right. You're going to spoil a movie. There's going to be a twist in there, and it's not going to be that she's a fucking Skywalker.
And that would just be too obvious and too lazy.
It's lazy. It's basically what it does is it takes this character, this first female heroine that's a center point of the movie. I mean, of course, Leia is a very important part of the original trilogy. But they didn't use Leia like they should have. They will now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They will now, especially in Last Jedi, because she, I think, is going to play a huge part in all of this, especially considering the tragic loss of Carrie Fisher, and then thus Princess Leia. Because she's the first female heroine, and because she's the main focus of the storyline, everyone assumes that her story is the only one that matters. But Luke is going to play a huge part in this. I mean, bigger than Yoda in Empire, bigger than even Obi-Wan in the prequels. His whole person as a Force user is going to have such an impact on who Rey becomes as a Force user that it is technically a continuation of Skywalker's story. His story. The original story. The Luke Skywalker story. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then, when he eventually dies, spoiler alert, he has to die. That's Star Wars
it's inevitable.
Theme.
Yep.
Just like someone has to lose an arm. Hand. Whatever. The hand can lost most of the arm. Yeah. Right, spoiler. People lose hands. Just because he dies doesn't make it not a Skywalker story. And she gets to move on from there. And that's really important. And to diminish that diminishes her as character, because it pretty much just makes her, oh, well, of course she's powerful. She's Luke's daughter. Oh, of course she does this. She's Luke's daughter.
Which in turn says that the Skywalkers are the only powerful Jedi in the galaxy.
Or the only good Jedi.
Right.
Like the Obi-Wan line's
hundreds of thousands of Jedis. I mean...
No. The Skywalkers aren't the only source of good in the galaxy, obviously. I mean, look at the fucking Rebel Alliance. You tools. But his descent into this depression on Octu, her need to find her place as a new Force user who's scared, who's untrained, who's exceptionally powerful, she needs that guidance. That's the Skywalker story, is him guiding her. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not a betrayal of the story. It creates something bigger and better. Doesn't have to focus on 3 goddamn Skywalkers. You know?
It opens the future of the Star Wars films to not continue going around in the same circle.
What is she? Is she going to have a kid for the next Skywalker trilogy?
Twins.
Right, they're going to have twins again. Well, That's a good segue into our next point. That Rey and Ben are siblings that Leia and Han somehow forgot about.
Yeah, how do you forget about giving birth?
Come on. Come on. So this all stems from the looks that Leia gives, and then
the look that
Han gives when they're flying, and she's talking about her parents, and he's like,
he
looks
feels
like depressed
guilty and knows who she is.
Come on.
And how about looks of, I mean, he... So
there's a lot of these theories are debunked with the same thing. This one with time. One, where's safer than with General Leia, right? Come on. Are you kidding me? Like, they're gonna abandon her on Jakku when she can be safe with the freaking Resistance?
Yeah, Leia would never do that. Han would never let that happen.
2, at the age in which she is dropped off on Jakku, this is before the turn of Ben to Kylo. Like, they just abandoned her, and like they're like, oh, well, in about, 6 years, he's gonna turn.
Yeah,
we better get on this.
We better drop her off on a desert planet right now.
Right now, leave him with a monster.
It would never happen. I mean,
it's insane. And it's, again, so fucking lazy.
Oh my god.
It's so lazy.
There are better storytellers out there.
They just wouldn't. No. There's a hard no to this. People. And that's where a lot of these things come from. They're all like superficial similarities. Like the desert planet. Oh, Luke was an orphan on a desert planet. Rey's an orphan on a desert planet.
Automatically.
Thus, Luke is the father of Rey.
Because desert
planets exist.
that's the birth test, pregnancy test, or whatever.
If you're a Force user on a desert planet as an orphan,
you are a Skywalker.
And he wasn't even. I mean, he lives with his aunt and uncle. Like, he's not that. She's left with nothing.
Nothing.
She lives in a fallen AT walker. Like, come on.
He was put there because his family is there. There was somebody to care for him. There's no one to care for her on Jakku.
Right.
She's left with a savage.
And that's like 5 points that are brought up. She's left on a desert planet. That's point 1. Ridiculous. She's technically savvy, like Anakin. Mm-hmm. Ridiculous. Or Luke.
Well, if you spend your entire life thus far, minus a few years in the beginning, scavenging the parts from all these spacecraft and stuff that are scattered all over the planet from the battle that happened there, you would kind of learn the ins and outs of these machines. That doesn't mean that this is your lineage.
Right.
It just means that you're smart and you pay attention to what you've been doing to survive.
You're just trying to survive.
For how long was she there? 8 to 10 years or so?
Yeah, about 10 years. 12 years.
12 years.
That's a long time to be on a planet and have to survive. And it's just so trivial, this idea of tech savvy. Is Chewie a Skywalker too?
He must be.
He can fly the Millennium Falcon, which is another point. Oh, she's a good pilot. Like her father before her.
Yeah. Again, staying on this desert planet, in and out of these spacecraft for 10, 12 years, you kind of learn the ins and outs. You learn how they work. You learn what makes what go. And if you notice, when she first gets in the Millennium Falcon, she doesn't just take off and fly. She bangs the fucker around for a while.
And even if we concede that her skill is unnatural, which it is unnatural, it's because she's Force sensitive. Right. Anakin... So we had some technical difficulties there. Talking about tech, and then we have a tech problem. Of course.
Because we're not strong with the Force.
We're not strong with the Force today. This is our first podcast. Cut us a break, people. God, all the comments already. It's disgusting.
They hate us.
They hate us so much. Basically, the point is, so many points are being brought up that she is, in fact, a Skywalker because of her innate abilities. Which is insane. And it does make sense on several points. One, when you're a Force user, you have innate Force abilities. That's how it works. Anakin did not have training, and he was able to innately use the Force to be an awesome pod racer. These are this is what it means to be a Force-sensitive person. And she's
something you're born with.
You're born with. And she's a very powerful Force-sensitive person.
Absolutely. Because of her lineage.
Because of her lineage, which we'll get into in another video. Or at the end of this video. We don't know.
We might drop a spoiler.
Drop a spoiler.
To what we think.
We should have like right now, a little spoiler come up on the screen.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, 3 minutes, no spoils. No, we're not doing that right now. But we'll get into it. But essentially, having Force abilities... And there's another point brought up in a lot of videos, her ability to call the lightsaber to her instead of Kylo, her ability to block Kylo from her mind, her ability to use the Jedi mind trick, all of these things are, while considered to need training, and it was very few Jedi who can do like the mind trick, things like that.
You don't.
Or mind control in her case, which is a little bit different.
You're born with it.
You're born with it.
That being... that strong with the Force. We know she's incredibly powerful.
She's very powerful.
And you're born with all of this. Your training is controlling the Force, how to use it via other abilities, improving your saber fighting, things like this.
Right.
Other things you're just born with. You don't have to have training how to use, maybe just training on how to control or use them properly.
I think it'd be important to imagine her having the Force in a bowl, and she has trainings pouring that liquid into cups of specific Force abilities. Right. Like, she can do things because she feels a pull to do these things. Kylo pulling the saber towards her, which we'll get into, has nothing to do with the fact that it's Anakin's lightsaber.
She's just more powerful.
More powerful. Or even if we concede that they're on a relatively equal plane of abilities, the idea is that because it's Anakin's, it goes to her, not him, where he's related to Anakin just as much as she would be. Like, there's no disconnect between lineage in that one.
Correct.
He's a grandson. If she's Luke's daughter, she's a granddaughter. The lineage is exactly the same. You can't say one Skywalker's worthy more than another. That doesn't make any sense. But because of the Kyber crystal inside, which we'll get into, that's why. But her innate abilities are not fundamentally a Skywalker trait. Correct. Right? And we can see this in several instances of canon. In some comics they talk about, and there's Jedi who completely reject the Order training and still have Force abilities.
Incredible Force abilities.
And Luke didn't have training, and he had Force abilities.
Right, he picked it up like crazy.
This doesn't mean Skywalker, this means powerful. And we'll get into lineage of other powerful families. Specifically, we'll talk one and kind of get into two a little bit, but the point is like that this doesn't necessarily mean Skywalker, this just means powerful. And on that, with the lightsaber calling to her and coming to her, that's the Kyber crystal. And for those who don't know what Kyber crystals are,
just a hilt.
It's just a hilt. You can take out the Kyber crystal, and the Sith do this and put it in a different hilt, right? And it doesn't make it not yours or not there. It just, the Kyber crystal is its own thing. It's a pretty much like a gate between you, the Force user, and the Force, and you have to have some kind of connection with it to use its power to its full potential. And we know that now through the Vader comics that a Sith who in Legends use synthetic crystals forces their will upon a Kyber crystal that they've taken from a Jedi that they've killed to make it red. And their power over it creates the strength of their connection. So to say that because it comes from a Jedi that it has no power for them is ridiculous. That goes the same with regular lightsabers. And we can see it in, say, Rebels, where Osaka turns it back and becomes a white, clear saber.
Yeah.
These things are much bigger than lineage.
Yes, absolutely.
And it being Anakin's lightsaber
means nothing.
Means nothing. It's more nostalgia. I'm sure it has a story that is involved in the family line, but that's not indication that she herself is a Skywalker.
It's just a Force stone sensing her powerful Force and wants to be connected with her Force.
Right. And that is very important. And this goes into her ability to use the lightsaber. One, Finn uses lightsaber,
Right.
not a Skywalker.
No training, not force sensitive.
Although some people did say that he's one of 4 Skywalker children.
I did see that. Because apparently there's a plethora of Skywalker children out there and nobody knows where they came from because...
Two Luke wives.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because Luke has many wives for a Jedi. Because that fits.
It does fit. Because Snoke.
Oh, yeah, because
Snoke manipulates all of this, and he's like, you know what, we need all these children and all these planets and all these parts of the galaxy for my master plan. Get the fuck out of here.
That's unnecessary. And it doesn't even make sense.
It's so dumb. And if Snoke was really in control of that, why would he want them all to converge? They destroyed the Starkiller base.
Right?
Was that part of his plan?
All of them come together. They would destroy him if this were the case.
It's so dumb. I wish we could put up the name of the person who posted that video.
We'll just put a little video, quick clip of it down there in the corner, maybe.
We'll put the thumbnail up. It'll be here.
Real fast.
Real fast. Insane. So dumb. The biggest thing when it comes to talking about Skywalker is usually 2 very important points. The similarities between the first 2 movies, Force Awakens and A New Hope, which is all superficial, and kind of the point. Let's remember that one of J.J. Abrams' points was to help bring back the franchise from the depths of the prequels, right? And what better way than to appeal to our nostalgia and to give us a story that we know is excellent and more down to earth and better. And so that's part of it. Then the second point is always just, she's so strong and it's a Skywalker story, so she has to be Skywalker. It's no. It's a no. It's a no all the way. Power does not denote Skywalker.
And there's I don't even know why people automatically want to say Skywalker when they see something powerful. I mean, the Skywalker line, lineage, whatever, is incredibly powerful. Not the most powerful. There's so many other options.
It is a ridiculous idea. One, that Skywalker is automatically assumed. And really, we have to... His power is not revealed in what most people have seen, right? It's in some comics and some novels, but the casual viewer doesn't have this information.
Correct.
I think that's part of it. The casual viewer just assumes that Skywalker, especially people new to the saga, but there are powerful families of the Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi is a very powerful Jedi. Qui-Gon Jinn was a very powerful Jedi.
Very great.
Yeah. Mace Windu, Palpatine, which we'll get into. Wink, wink. Palpatine face. These are all very powerful Force users who presumably come from very powerful Force-sensitive families. Skywalkers are not the only ones, and I will note, not the most powerful.
No.
Palpatine was stronger than Anakin.
Yes, but yes. I mean, and you can go back, there's Plagueis.
Plagueis, the Wise, which we'll get into in another episode. The point is, the storytelling would be lazy and just unneeded. It's unneeded to make her Skywalker. While some fans will be excited that she's Rey Skywalker because they love the Skywalkers, it's let Rey be her own thing. And she deserves her own thing because she is an awesome character.
Absolutely.
Not just
strong and powerful.
A Mary Sue. Whatever.
Mary Sue Skywalker. Oh.
Whatever they call like that.
Yeah.
She's not. She's an awesome character. And then her using lightsaber, I think we got off track there a little bit. She fights well. She probably kicked a lot of ass on Jakku.
Right. And you saw her fight with the staff. Yeah. Again, no training.
No training.
That she spends that much time at that young of an age as a female on a desert planet all by herself, scavenging parts, probably fighting off other people who are also trying to scavenge these same parts. You learn to defend yourself and to take care of yourself. And all this does not mean that she's a Skywalker.
And Finn used a lightsaber.
Right.
Not well.
And can also fight because he was trained by the Resistance.
Trained by the First Order.
Oh yes, First Order.
But the point is, the training translates. You don't have to have Skywalker genes to use a lightsaber well.
Correct.
You don't have to be Jedi to use the lightsaber well. There are plenty of instances of non-Jedis beating Jedis with lightsabers. Like, this is in
Luke
canon.
got his ass beat by a
A
stormtrooper
stormtrooper.
using a lightsaber. Beat him down to nothing, and he's a Skywalker. This goes to show you don't have to be Force sensitive or a Skywalker to properly use a lightsaber. It's a laser sword.
And the only reason she beat Kylo is because the dude just took a blaster to the stomach.
Right.
Like 10 minutes prior.
Yes. A Chewie blaster.
Right. And he's a bow caster blaster to the
stomach. Gut.
He's using all of his force energy to keep his intestines in.
Yes. Yeah. So of course he's going to get his ass beat.
Yeah. So come on. And he's also trying to what? Not kill her.
He doesn't want to kill her.
Alive. Snoke needs her alive.
Right.
So of course he doesn't beat her. He can't. Or he probably would have cut her down. Yeah, exactly.
Tell him.
So I don't even know how many reasons that was. But there's nothing that was compelling. And you're more than welcome. We just searched Rey as a Skywalker. We watched the first 36 or so most popular videos with the most views and the most likes. Or these are all very popular videos. And by channels that are relatively large.
And something that I saw that was fairly common among the videos was that people want to have that precious father-daughter reuniting happy emotional moments. Why?
Right. One, you can have a connection with someone who's not biologically yours. Luke with Obi-Wan.
Yep.
Right? That's a very, very important
and look
example.
At Han and Rey, and they instantly had a connection. That was Han. Instant connection there. That was very father-daughter like. Doesn't mean that she's a solo. Right. Doesn't mean that they're related. You can have these strong emotional moments that these people want to see and all this love and blah blah without automatically meaning that she's a Skywalker. A lot of daddy issues out there online.
Apparently. And a lot of videos dealt with that. Like they want that connection because it's a good Disney fun. No, it's not.
This is Star Wars.
And it's important not to note that this not being a father-daughter thing is going to play an important role in The Last Jedi. And for reasons, again, hashtag spoiler, we know that if you're listening, 30 seconds, don't listen. From some sources, we know that Luke's first words to her in The Last Jedi is asking who she is. He doesn't know her.
Who are you? Right. And I don't care how long it's been, that's ingrained in you. I mean, and she was a toddler. I mean, she was like, what, 6, 7, 8 years old when she was dropped on
like
Jakku?
7 or 8.
So why would, if she was raised in the Jedi Temple with Luke and all this, why wouldn't she have, I have memories before I was 8 years old. How would she not remember this? Luke would remember. As a father, you don't forget what your kid looks like.
Right.
I mean, he would know who she is, not to mention the force connection that they would have would be different if they were related.
Right.
So he would automatically know.
It's just a ridiculous idea. But not as ridiculous as these ideas. These are our picks for the most ridiculous Rey as a Skywalker theories that we came across. And boy, oh boy, are they doozies. I'll let you read yours first.
Well, we kind of already talked about mine. The whole her being able to call the saber over Kylo automatically proves lineage, and we talked about that being Kyber crystal, things like that. Kind of touched on that already. Don't think it proves anything. Almost as ridiculous as the buns.
The buns are pretty ridiculous. Anything superficial like facial structure, accent, buns, clothing, sand. These are all insane ideas. I think one even said that she has a similar facial structure to Smee. Come on. Or that she's the reincarnation of Vader because of her appearance to his mother. Like, those are pretty ridiculous. My most ridiculous, I know Fish shares this exact
so good.
So, the idea is, and we'll just go over the whole thing. Rey is a Skywalker, Luke's daughter. Her and Ben grow up in the Jedi Temple. So Rey's dropped off on Jakku in canon 5 or 6 years before the fall of the Jedi.
And
Temple.
what's the age difference between Rey and Kylo?
like 10 years.
Okay.
Like that.
Note that.
So he's a teenager when this theory takes place, and she's 7 or 8. So between 13 and 16, 6 and
Somewhere
8. Somewhere in that area. So Ray and Ben Solo. Ben kidnaps Ray.
Mm-hmm. First kills Luke's wife.
Kills Luke's wife.
Steals his lightsaber.
Kidnaps Ray. Steals the
Millennium Falcon by himself. As a tween. No co-pilot.
Flies to
Jakku.
Drops Ray off and trades the Millennium Falcon for that ship we see that takes off in her Force vision. For no reason other than he's jealous of her powers.
Jealous, yeah, and is mad at Luke. Since she's his cousin or whatever, he can't bear to kill her, so he just abandons her.
And then goes back to the school.
Right, and continues as Ben Solo for a while,
for a couple more
before
years,
he decides
before
he's
he
Kylo.
decides to drop.
Because that makes a whole lot of sense.
And it's not even in a short period of time. It's like 6 or 7 more years until he's Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And no one's like, hey, we're missing a few things.
This is weird. What happened?
Did he just use his lightsaber at this school? And Luke's like,
killed the younglings.
Right?
Yeah, it's a whole Anakin play. No, it just doesn't make sense. He's too young.
Oh, it's bad. And the best part of this particular theory is the gentleman who made the video. And I will admit the video, it has maybe like 2,000 views. It's more. His channel has only a few subscribers, but the video has quite a bit of views. But we have to trust him because, one, he's a perfectionist.
Oh, yes. This guy is super perfectionist.
He's a perfectionist. And two, he wrote a story, a perfect story, by the way, because he's a perfectionist, that's very similar to Star Wars. So he knows how storytelling's done, and that's how he would tell the story.
Yes.
Although the timeline is so off. And the concept so ridiculous.
I don't even think that he's actually even watched Force Awakens.
I don't think so.
I mean, other than...
I don't get it. I don't get it.
You could maybe piece this together from watching other videos on YouTube. Maybe.
I think one important part, too, is she calls the Millennium Falcon a piece of junk or whatever when Finn's pointed out.
It's garbage.
Because Ben Solo had said that the ship was garbage on their way there, so she's like, "Oh, so I know that
automatically, ship. I know, yeah."
It wasn't that she didn't know the ship and she thought it was garbage. She knew the ship and knew it was garbage.
And after she sees he kills her mother and kidnaps her, yet she's still pleading for him to come back to her and rescue her as he's leaving.
And then through the whole thing, her point that they have to convince her not to do is go back to Jakku to wait for him some more.
Yeah.
Even though she just fought him.
Yes.
Oh.
But yeah, she has to wait because whoever dropped her there is coming back to save her.
Actually, I do have another funny one, a ridiculous theory. This was about a 2-minute video where the gentleman compared a fight scene in the original animated Clone Wars movie.
The 2003 one? Yeah.
To the cracks that occur when Anakin's fighting.
I couldn't watch the whole video.
To the cracks that form in the trailer of The Last Jedi.
Which proves she's a Skywalker.
Oh my god.
Because in the 2003 non-canon cartoon, there are cracks in the concrete under Anakin, therefore Rey's a Skywalker.
You convinced me, guy.
And the title of this one said 100%.
Yeah, it was like
definitive.
Yeah, it was very confident.
Yes. I was excited until about 30 seconds.
Yeah. Because when I see a 2-minute video that's saying definitive proof, I mean, I imagine they have a very, very specific point. No caveats to that point.
And then he just got way off track and started talking about characters that he liked from other random cartoons. It was such a strange video.
Very strange. Very ridiculous. What theory would you accept her being a Skywalker as?
I'm a fan of, I don't know if you watched it, the reincarnation of Vader.
I did watch it. I did. Yeah, so let's talk about that. I like the idea, but there's no way they're doing it.
No, there is no way. But this is one of the few that I would accept.
So there's one reason I don't think they can do it is I'm pretty sure Anakin is not created through the Force.
No.
No. I think that originally they wanted that. I think that was George Lucas's point originally, that he was a product, like a Messiah figure, the chosen one. But I think they're reining that back. And I think that him having a father is going to be important to the story. And then 2, the idea of reincarnation there's no basis for it yet.
Correct.
It's too much backstory to have to create. Right. Be like, oh, well, yeah, reincarnation exists, duh. Like, no, it just doesn't really work that way. But it is an interesting theory, only because it lines up with what people want and what, like, the easy Disney thing to do.
Right.
But there's too much there. And we have to be introduced to certain things like manipulating the midichlorians to create life. Like, it's been mentioned in passing. Like, that's it.
Plagueis.
Yeah, with Plagueis and all that, but you can't create a whole story arc out of passing.
It wouldn't be something for the casual viewer, nor something that I imagine they would want to put time for backstory into. But I mean, as far as everything that I've heard out there, it's really the only one that I could get behind. So
the one theory I would accept, and I'm pretty sure I made this up. I haven't heard it anywhere. So hashtag spoilers. We know, or at least we believe from some sources, that there is ancient twins, who on Octu, at the tree we see in the trailers, become the first manipulators of the Force.
Correct.
And my theory is that one twin uses the light side, one uses the dark side. One twin goes on to create the lineage that eventually becomes the Skywalkers. The other twin, the dark side user, creates a lineage that eventually leads up to the Palpatine family line.
Follows along the Skywalker Palpatine battle that we've been seeing since the dawn of Star Wars time, pretty much.
And I think that her being a Skywalker is in relation to them coming from the same set of twins.
Yeah, I would accept this. But again, that's a whole lot of backstory.
It's a lot of backstory. Apparently, we see a flashback or something talked about with Luke's search for the beginnings and all that. We don't know exactly what it is. So we do have the Force tree, and we see that in the Clone Wars as well. We know that it's a very powerful Force source. But again, it doesn't prove that she's a Skywalker so much as she shares lineage.
Correct.
But again, there's other powerful families. But I think that hashtag spoiler, she's a Palpatine.
Duh.
And we're going to get to know that and why it matters that she's a Palpatine. And we'll probably get into that next week.
That's our next one, yeah.
That's kind of the only thing I can see working, her being a Skywalker. And she's not even a Skywalker.
Right.
In that traditional way. But again, with Force ghosts and stuff with that we know we'll see, it's likely we're going to at least delve a little bit into the older parts of their lineage. So we'll see how that goes. The Last Jedi comes out in less than 2 months. Not even 30 days, right? Almost 40 days. What's the date? Today we're filming this on the 8th. So we have just over 5 weeks till Last Jedi comes out and we get some answers that we desperately need. Oh, man. And we will, of course, be bringing a live podcast after we do the screening to discuss our first impressions, followed by the weekly podcast that will go over our more in-depth and then kind of our theories going forward.
The future, what we see coming, what we saw happen.
But in essence, her being a Skywalker, there's no real clear evidence.
Nobody's convinced me.
No one's convinced.
I dare you to convince me.
Yeah.
Put some links and some comments
and links.
Convince me, because I'm not... I dare you.
Yeah. I dare
Try
you.
it.
Do it. Be sure to follow us on social media here and here. We do a weekly podcast. You can follow us listen on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, on our website, talesfromtatooine.wordpress.com. Follow us on Twitter, Tatooine Podcast, and let us know what you think. We love input. We love ideas. We do this every single day. If you have some crazy theories you want to present, let us hear it. We'll talk it. We like to talk about this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Give us material.
Give us material.
Bring it.
We love it. If you have any critiques, let us hear it. We're not scared. We're better than you. But we do really appreciate you taking the time to watch our podcast and listen to us talk about Star Wars. Hashtag not a Skywalker.
Hashtag done.
Hashtag classic.
That's for you, Mark.
Thank you so much. May the Force be with you. No, we're not ending like that.
No.
That's so cliche. Just thank you for watching the podcast.
Just...
So we do fake talking for 6 seconds, in which case plays the Cantina song.
Did you push record on the thing?
I did press record. I
Are you
checked
sure?
it. I'm 100%
You're
positive.
100%
I'm so
positive?
positive. I feel so sick to my stomach for all this. Because it was. We got on a roll.